Hi, everyone, and welcome to Intro to Canva. This is going to be a fun one. I think you're going to be glad you stopped in today, or if you're watching us on demand, hello. My name is Lynn Hilt, and I'm joined by Danny Henninger. Danny had some internet connectivity problems at her home, nothing that was her fault, so I'm going to just kind of lead this, and maybe she'll pop in and maybe she won't, but we feel sad when those kinds of things happen, and that's the life we live now, being connected. So we're going to chat about Canva, and we hope that this inspires you to do some fun things with the tool in different ways with your students or for yourselves as designers. And there's lots to do with Canva. It's a fun, creative time. So let's get started. So again, I'm Lynn Hilt, and I'm joined by Danny Hedinger, and we are from the Office of Professional Development and Curriculum at OPDC. And at the IU, if you have any questions for us after the session is over, please just feel free to email us anytime. We're happy to help you get through that. Now, this is one of those tools where you do have to have an account to play around. The accounts are free to use. Of course, they offer a pro version, and we'll talk about that. But in this session today, we're going to talk about what Canva is and how you access it. So Canva is not Canvas. If you are here for a Canvas session for learning management systems, you are in the wrong place. This is a much more fun tool than Canvas. We're going to talk about the different features that Canva has and how you can use them and how you can apply the use of Canva in your work as an educator. And then we'll dip our toes into the student use of Canva, which has come around just this year, and we'll see what the possibilities are with that. So where do you find Canva? How do you access it? And what is it? Well, Canva is a graphic design platform, and you can create any number of different projects, popular things that people use it for, or to create social media graphics, presentations, posters, flyers, a lot of people use it for social connectivity purposes and publishing because it has a number of templates that will ensure that the content you create is easily shared through the social channels. So there are specific templates for Twitter users and for Facebook and for Google Classroom headers and all sorts of things. So what's nice about Canva is that the platform itself knows the dimensions of graphics that you might need depending on your purpose. It has a whole collection of visuals that are free for you to use. There are also upgrades available for certain visuals. And it is web-based, so you can access it via the web. If you want to play around right now, visit www.canva.com. You can also design on a mobile app, so you can use it on an iPhone, an iPad, or an Android mobile or an Android tablet if you are a mobile user. So when you get there for the first time, if you've not logged in, one of the things you're going to need to decide is how you want to log into your account or create a new account, sign up. I recommend that if you want to look at any of the options that the education accounts offer, that you sign up with either your school email address or your school Google account. Don't use Facebook. It'll just make it harder for you to prove that you're a teacher. Because what we're going to find out is that Canva does offer some premium features for educators for free. But there is a process you have to use to get that approval. So we'll look at that. So if you haven't been in before, again, and you want to use it with your students, or maybe one day use it with your students, or if you want access to the free premium features, sign up with your school email or sign up with your school Google account. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. And then we'll get into this whole goodness. But I just wanted to tell you that as you're signing up, okay? Features of Canva. What can it do? Well, what can't it do, guys? What can't it do? So for the templates, there are 50,000 plus templates that you can choose from. What's nice about Canva is that while we would all like to be skilled graphic designers, for some of us that comes easier than for others, but we all want to publish and produce content that looks really nice and really clean. And so that's one thing that Canva will definitely help you do. There are a number of tools built in that will make your creations look amazing. Okay. We'll walk through the template gallery and I'll show you where to search and all that good stuff. If you have your own Canva account, feel free to play along on your device while we're going through this. But we did mention the use on social, so you'll see a lot of categories related to social media. And that's just to help get you where you need to go quickly. So let's do that. Let's check it out. So this is my start page, okay? And it starts by showing me a bunch of templates. It also starts by showing me all my designs that I've gone through recently. And then these are things that I've recently searched for, things like education. So it'll just try to recommend some things for me. But if I click in this search field, here are some of my recent searches. And then here are some suggested searches based on things that I've done recently. But let's say we're having like a pool party for our class once social distancing is over at a local pool. So I just searched pool party. All right. So pool party is a popular search term, it looks like, and so many of these look really fun that how do I even decide? But what they're showing me and what you can start to see is that they're in different shapes and sizes because there are different template purposes. So this one looks like some kind of header. So headers are like longer and thinner. Maybe it's for Facebook. When I click to open it, does it tell me? Yep. This is a Pool Party Waves Facebook event cover. So if you ever design anything for friends and family on Facebook and you build an event, this has been expertly designed to a certain size to look good in a Facebook event as a cover image. So that's one of the great things. If you've ever posted content in, like if you ever tried to make your own Google Classroom header or you tried to post something on Twitter and it just looked silly because it was the wrong size, Canva takes care of that for you, okay? So if you go to templates, there are just dozens and dozens. You can browse by category, Facebook posts, Instagram stories, and you don't have to use these on Facebook. For example, I have chosen email headers before to use on websites. So I just like the header look. Posters, resumes, logos, brochures. There are lots of things you can look in, and they're all clean and neat and tidy, right? And the nice thing about templates is any of these can be changed to fit your needs. So you can change the background colors and the colors of the objects. You can change the images that are in there. When you click on a template, it's going to give you a little description. Sometimes the template is more than one page, so you'll be able to scroll through and see what's included. It tells you there's essentially a branding kit that's included in all of these, so you can see the colors and the hex codes. Now, if you're not like a graphic design geek like I happen to be, you might not know what I'm talking about, but every color on the web has an associated color code, and you can match colors to your school colors. There's all sorts of things you can do. And then these are the fonts that are included in this particular template. Oh, somebody popped in. Let me bring them in. And then these are the graphics that are included, and there's some stock photos that are included as well. If you like that, but you're not really sure about it, they're offering some suggested templates that are like that. So maybe your kids are designing something, a travel brochure or whatever else that you can pull in. Some of them are very, very different. So again, they're taking the hard work out of this in terms of you needing to start from scratch. Can you start from scratch? Absolutely, you can start from scratch. But there are a number of pre-built things built in for you. So templates. When I scroll down, I'm going to see, and if I click see all, no, I don't want to do that. If I click, those are all my template galleries. And then they offer some suggestions of things. And you can click see all at any time so you can see the list. So maybe you're designing some slides for your students to showcase something instructionally in your LMS. This has a number of definitely different than your traditional Google Slides types of slides. I love these slides. And what's cool is that a lot of the Canva features templates are able to be downloaded in other formats. So we'll talk about downloading and sharing too. But I think you get the idea about templates. Now, when I'm in my homepage, let me search for school and see what comes up. There are a number of different templates that were shown. We've got flyers, we've got certificates that showed up. There's like a back to school flyer, an informational flyer. So any of these might be useful. I think I used this one in Modern Learners one time because it has just like a nice background. So here we are in the next slide, which is to showcase for you this menu bar on the left. So if you're following along and if you came in a little bit late, let me just make sure you get the link to these slides so that you have them. So I'll put them in the chat. Top fan Joseph arrived. Hi, Joseph. So here we are looking at the menus. This menu will remain the same no matter what template you're using, and it's on the far left-hand side of the platform. At the top, you can pull up your templates chooser at any time. So if you decide to change your template mid-project, you can do that. Sometimes it alters the look of what you've done, but ultimately you can change templates. There is a photos gallery. You can also upload photos. So if you have specific photos or if you have specific logos or pictures from your school, like a title of your school name or something that you want to bring in as an image, you can certainly do that. There is an elements menu. Elements are super fun because you can find all kinds of shapes, clip art, illustrations. There's animated GIFs in there now. Anything to kind of bring your design to life. And then there's a text menu. You can insert videos, which I personally have not done yet because I haven't really built anything that's animated. But you can bring videos in. I foresee that being used in presentations. And then you can change the background of your work. And you can organize your creations into folders to make sure that you can stay on top of things. So let's jump into here. Here's those menus I was talking about on the left. And if I click on templates, for example, it's showing me what I currently have. And this is a poster. So these are categories of popular posters at this time because of holidays and because of coronavirus. Now has its own section of templates. So you can go through and at any time I can click on this and change it. Now I haven't changed any content here, so I can click and change and do that. I'm going to keep this one because it has a lot of elements that I want to show you. All right, templates. Photos. We've got Memorial Day collection photos, beach photos, food photos, things that might be relevant right now. If you notice, let me try to zoom in here. There is a little, that didn't work out. Trying to zoom the menus. Sorry about that. Let me just get back here. Or maybe I'll even fit it. This is another space where you can filter photos by color, by orientation, if you need a vertical or a horizontal photo, or if you need a perfectly square photo to fit into your design. And here, if you are not on an Education Pro account, you can click free and make sure that whatever you're shown are only free to use. What happens if you're not on an Education Pro account is that you might find a photo that's really cool, and it might say something like $1 Canva or like it'll say 1 Canva credit. This costs 1 credit. And so that's Canva's way of upcharging for content, where if you find a photo that you really want to use, let me click education, because now some of these are not free for people who aren't on education accounts, but if you have a Canva teacher account, they're all free. Bing, bing, bing. All right, so you can click on this and it will insert right in. You can also drag and drop to different parts of your design and it will replace it when possible. So what I'm doing now is I'm just dragging and dropping it onto the background, onto the paper. It can replace that picture of the laptop up there. So I'll just stick it on the paper for now. So you have a couple options. If you just click it one time, it's just going to be inserted right into, let me just look for, what are we doing here? Careers. Just look for a picture and you can just click it right in and move it. But if you drag and drop it, it can replace things that are already there, okay? When we're looking at our editing tools, I'm just hovering my mouse around, and certain things, actually I'm going to change the background color so you can see the blue lines better. The background color is currently set to blue. I'm going to go up to the blue box, which is showing me my background color, and I'm going to go ahead and change that just to something, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but now you can see the blue picture, the blue lines. So the blue lines around my glasses. Now this glasses illustration is cool because I can customize everything about it. Again, since I've selected an object, I can go up top left and I can customize that object. So do I want the frames to be yellow? No, I want the frames to be bright blue. So I can customize certain aspects of certain objects that are available and make the design all my own. So even if you're starting with a template, that does not mean that you have to be stuck with what is there in the template. You can still create and design and make it awesome all your own. Actually, that was, oh, there we go. Now I'm just doing nonsense. I would never use these colors, but just for fun, right? So now you can see how that's all changed. So when you click on an object or a text box, find your way up to the top, and this is where where you will find your editing tools. You will also find editing tools to the right. There are a number of different tools here that you should get to know. So these are your familiar text tools. There is your font, and whenever you see the little crown behind a font, that means it is a pro user font that only pro users can use. But if you are a Teacher Pro, you get access to that. This is the font size. You can also hold and drag the corners of, this is what I wish I could do with my Google Slides life. Like I wish it every day, but I can't. Click and drag to make text larger or smaller. You can also change, for some fonts, bold or italics, underlines, your alignment here. You can full justify as well. And then you can quickly all caps or all lower caps things. See that? And then you have bullets and you have spacing options. I love this. You can change the line height really easily. You can change the letter width. I love this too, because sometimes I like to space out my words like that. And then you can decide where in the box you want the text to be anchored. Okay. Again, all those options disappeared because I didn't click on anything to edit. So just don't be alarmed when things disappear. So here is another text box. It's a little bold for me. I'm going to go back here and just find something fun. You can search your fonts. There's hundreds, so you could spend your whole day just kind of going through this. It would not be a good choice. Just so many fun things. I'm just going to pick that. Now here, position is important because sometimes you need to layer your objects. You want Career Expo words to stay on top. You can just click and drag up. See, right now, I don't want Career Expo to be covered by that laptop. So I'm going to need to go to position, and I can bring it forward until I see it. Okay, so that was just one layer back. Maybe you want to align it on the page to a specific place. I do this a lot. I align things to the center if I want to center things. I align things to the middle of the page if I want it to be perfectly centered. And so that would be another option in addition to using the guidelines. So as I'm dragging this around, you can see the many guidelines that pop up. And that's just an additional helpful tool as you're designing to try to get the content in the space where you think it would look best. And it's just helping you in case your eyes are deceiving you, which mine does a lot of times. Yeah, looks like I changed the spacing, that's why. So again, any of these things, click on an object, see if you can change the colors. If you can, fun times. This is a white to a black. And that one has a little bit of a different look. Now, sometimes we like to change the transparency of things. That's what this grid is all about. So if you click on transparency, if you want a picture in the back, but you want it to be lighter, so you could put words on top. Nice. That's how you do that. You can make most things transparent depending on what you brought in. Other options, this would be to copy the style. So if you've created this perfect style that you want to reuse over and over again in your work, you could copy that style and then you can apply it to a different heading or something. So I want to change, I'll do that again. I want this red and the font to be applied to join the workforce. And so I'm going to copy this style. And now when I click that little roller on join the workforce, it applies that style. Bang. That is exciting stuff. Now, can Canva be multi-page? Yeah, it can be multi-page. And sometimes I have files that have multiple pages in them, not because the actual design is multi-pages, but because I am designing the same type of thing over and over again, and I want them to be in the same space. So these are some headers that I've made over the past couple of weeks for the Core Connections website and for other sites. And I found that this particular size works for the most part with Google Sites. So instead of creating a new file each time, I just duplicate what I have. I copy the page. Then if I need to change up the background or something, let's pretend we're going to the beach, shall we? Drop that in. We're going to get rid of this title. Now, here's another great feature. You can group objects. So I'm going to ungroup these because I want to get rid of this because this is going to be the BCIU Beach Getaway. I'm going to change this to a beach color and Beach Getaway. And now I'm going to add some text. We haven't visited the text features yet. They offer some pretty cool sets of text to design with right away. And maybe I'll even replace what I have with one of these sets. So on the left-hand side, there are some text sets. And you can click and it'll add it just like it's shown. So let me see, I want like here we go. This one even has like little whoop. And it comes in black. And I'm going to probably change this one to white just to be there, okay, for that background piece. So that actually included like a little exciting thing in there. Now this has been grouped. Whenever you try to like do something and you notice like they're all kind of sticking together, look up in the top right because you can see that that's been grouped. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup that. However, do you see what happened? When I ungrouped it, these are all separate lines. Might be problematic for me later, but let's just go with it. I'm going to get rid of that old stuff. So I'm going to do Beach Getaway. And I'm going to just make that smaller. So join us. So you can see how that all works. Now, when I am done with this design, maybe I do want to regroup that again, because that could be kind of crazy. I don't like how spaced out those are. So I'm going to put that closer together. Now I can make it bigger. Now I can center it. I could use my position. Nice. And I'm going to make this a different, probably color. Up here, font color. Now it has some default colors that are popular colors. I have brought in custom colors that match our BCIU logo. I know the hex code thanks to our marketing department. So they gave me that so I can use that. And that's why this is showing up because I still have that on my design. Okay, so now if I wanted to regroup all that stuff, something I've done in the past is kind of click and drag over all the elements. And now I can click group. So if you have a group of elements that you want to stay together, you can go ahead and do that, group it, and now I can move the whole shebang all at once. Let's look at, since this would be a good time to look at elements. Elements are clip art, illustrations, GIFs, stickers. Some of them move. Some of them are meant to delight your audience. I'll do a search for beach and see what comes up. I don't know if we have any kind of, let me see also the pro version. Let's do this one. Ooh, yes. Let's do that one. Now, if you're a keyboard user, I've been doing a lot with my keys on my keyboard as well. Like you can, once you have something selected, you can click delete to get rid of it. You can right click on any elements and you can click delete there, or you can copy paste. Duplicate will work as well. Copy, Control D if you're trying to duplicate something. What else do we have over here? These are all elements you can add that are either in the EDU collection or free. Also from the categories page, this is where you can find things like grids. So if you want to, let me just add a page, and let me just get rid of this background and change it to white. If you want to add something like a grid, these will fill your space and allow you to drag and drop photos, for example, into the space. And the cropping can be fixed anytime you double click into a grid. You can drag and drop and fix the cropping that way. You can also click on it one time and click your image options, your crop, your filter, your adjusting. You can flip images. You can work out your grid spacing. That, like right now, I have like a pretty thin line between the grid. So that's an example of how you could create like a, let me pick a different shape so we can kind of work. When you create a design, here you can create dimensions perfectly from scratch as you want them to be. So this might be something like a 5x7 kind of print, but it's a bigger one that we can work with. So let's go back to elements and look for different grids. Maybe you're making like a photo collage or something that you want to highlight your students' work from the year. If you put one of those grids in there and then you go into your uploaded photos, I don't know what I have in here, it's all work stuff. I don't have any pictures of students. Here we got the career ready Berks. We can put that in there. It looks nice. We got BCIU things and Epic thing. We could put that in there. So you can see how that all works out. Let's talk about photo editing as well. I'm going to get rid of the grid and just pick a regular photo. You can do some pretty cool things with photo editing. I'll bring in this guy here. When I click on the settings in the top left, I see effects and I see filters. So filters are familiar to you if you use any kind of photo apps like Instagram or anything like that. So I can go ahead and I can change the color of this. Now it's a black and white one. Maybe I should have picked a better choice. Let's make a better choice. Here we go, back to our beach. Filter, I can change that. I can enhance it, add that kind of stuff. And you can change the intensity of the filter as well. And then for effects, these are some wild types of add-ons that you can add to your account, and it will do some really interesting things. Like that's a bad TV signal. Like that's crazy, all the things. Here's a liquefy. Apply liquefied motion style to your picture. So it's like flowing. Yes. So depending on how detailed your students get with their design, there's some pretty neat things you can do here. Glitch, pixelate. If you want to pixelate your images, that sounds super fun because you might make one like they're working on like a video game design and they want to add that. Here we go, pixel. Do what I say. Oh, it's thinking about it. Oh, wow. Oh, they're having trouble loading liquefy at the moment. That was dots. Let me go back to just pixel. There we go. That's cool. Maybe you need to pixelate your students' faces if you're publishing something. You could do it that way as well. So effects are essentially little add-ons that you connect to your space so that you can apply them to your work. Okay. So we looked at photos, we looked at elements. This is a pretty good search. I've done a lot of searches to look for even things like clip art that are useful in some of my creations, and pretty good things come up. We looked at the text. You can just add a simple heading or a simple body of text or a simple subheading as well, or you can choose one of their font combinations, totally up to you. Music is something I really don't do a lot of. but they do have music that you can add. I'm not sure if you can hear that. If So if you're doing a presentation or students designing a presentation, it's a really, you're coming to the climax of the story, they could add that in there. Co-work party time sounds like something worth investigating. They're cinematic, so you can see the collections of them, the way that they go in there. These kids are on a quest. Free for education, okay? So you can then kind of stuck it right down here at the bottom of my creation, so that when it's in present mode, you can see along the top the player, we'll call it, is along the top there. Let me just double check that we talked about that. I am going to show you the sharing settings as well. Star Wars is epic, Joseph. So we're at, ideas for use for you. We'll go back into the templates and we'll look at some of the pre-built education templates that are there. I mean, it's great to build infographics. Infographics are hard to build from scratch. These are nice starting points for you or for students to start to build. There are a number of logos. There are educational presentations that you can pull from. These are all templates found in the Canva gallery that are meant to support remote learning. So there are some tips and tricks for learning from home, advice for learning from home that you can customize to your specific grade level or content area. Here's some more coronavirus things, fiction and nonfiction. Just sometimes kids really are drawn to the visual summarization of key important content versus reading through paragraphs and paragraphs. And when they're creating, it just helps them pull out the most important information in that summarizing format, which we know is really important for developing those enduring understandings. Let me look at, before I do the sharing, here are some examples that Danny has made through her work. She's been busy creating a conference website for a conference we're hosting coming up next month, and that was her header. This is in association with one of her Flipgrid activities for Flip Hunt, and so she can use this not just to kind of summarize what kids should do, but visually she can put this in Flipgrid and give the directions in this nice, pleasing way. These are some of the logos that we've built for our Core Connections website. I'll spit it out eventually. That we use to advertise our sessions. This is what you could create, kind of like a badge. We started building out some badges for our summer work this year. I've used Canva to create infographics. We introduced this one at the beginning of this whole school shutdown situation, just helping you think through how to best design distance learning. And sometimes when I'm emailing my certain network groups, I will use an email header for that group just to, liven up email life a little bit. So we've already kind of gone in and designed some things. So let me talk about sharing options. You can share things a couple of ways. First of all, you can collaborate with other users of Canva. So you can go up to the share button and you can add an email address of another Canva user, and you can give them either view privileges or editing privileges. Downloading options are also here. You can download to certain formats. PNG, of course, would be like a very high quality image that you'd want to use if you were going to host it on the web as a header, things like that. A JPEG will produce a smaller sized file of an image for you. Then you can get a print quality PDF. The PDF standard would be like a smaller file size if you just want to email it to somebody, but if you want a high quality, choose the PDF print. And then there are 2 beta download versions. One is to download a video. So you can take your presentation slides, for example, and you can download them as an MP4. Or if students or you have designed some kind of quick little video, you can download it as a GIF. And as you're in this download mode, you get other options if you're a pro user. If you're a pro user, you can adjust the quality of the size of the download, and also you can check that you want a transparent background. For example, for my badge here, this is, when I built it, it has a white background on the square, but when I download it, I download only the elements that I designed. So I download that with a transparent background. And you can also compress the file size so it's a lower quality if you need to do that for sharing purposes. The other virtual, like online options for sharing, if you don't want an actual download, are to use Google Classroom. So you could send your creation through Google Classroom to your classes. You could develop a link to share the creation with someone. You could present it and get like essentially a presentation mode link to send to them, or you can share directly to Facebook or share directly to Twitter. Now you see this word suggested because Canva is looking at what I've created, and they're going in and they're saying, you know what, if you go here to download, we're really suggesting that for the best quality, you do a PDF print. And if you don't agree, you can just check off of that and go to other things. If you have a multiple page document, like I've had, you don't have to download them all at once. You can do, you could just select certain pages to download. So I do that a lot, like, because I add things as I go. So if I only wanted page 6 file, I would click here and then page 6. And I could click done, and then it would download that for me. You can view this page as like a stream of pages, or you can click on the page manager and it will actually show you a different view there, which is kind of cool. And then you can drag and drop things in different orders. Something that I almost never do that is kind of fun that I should do is I should name my pages. Like this is my educator roundtable logo. This is my on-demand logo. So you can get really organized and you can organize all that work. And then when you go into page view, it will tell you what that is. Now from page view, I can delete pages. I can copy pages and duplicate them. I can add new pages. So this is just a personal preference, how you want to view your work. You can also add notes to a creation if you want to make notes about things you have to change or update later. You can move them up and down in the file. You can copy pages, delete, and then the plus sign would be to add a new page. So let's say I wanted to share this one with a link. Let me just get a little bigger here. I want to share this one. We're going to do share. We're going to do publish, share link. Share link. Anyone with the link can view this design. No sign-in required. Copy. Let me just jump to a new incognito window so you can see. And now this is my published design. No toolbars or anything on the side. So if I was creating instructional materials for kids and I just wanted them to click through and view everything, this would be great because I don't have to add email addresses or anything like that. I can just go through and kind of show them that published link. Awesome. I can email it, MailChimp it, send it to a Facebook group, send it to Google Classroom. So lots of sharing there. Okay. All right. Now, let's discuss the student operations. And I admit that I don't have a lot of experience with this because it is so new. And that I don't have a class to play around with. So I just kind of played around with one of my Google Classroom student accounts. But basically now you can use Canva in a learning type of space where as a Canva education member, you can assign things to your students. You can review designs that they create. So it functions like a mini type of Google Classroom, but not really, but it's a space where you can hand out things and look at their things. So this is the link on page 8, slide 18. If you wish to apply for full access, which I totally would, and I did, they want to make sure that you're eligible, that you're really an educator, that you're not like a pretend person who just wants free access to Canva. You have to submit the application form, which is below. Supposedly they are reviewing every application. It did take me, I would say, over a week to hear about it, if I was approved or not. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to be approved because I don't have an actual classroom, but I do work with professional development. So I was hoping that would get me in. But they will email you once you are approved, and you'll get an email and it'll say, congratulations, your Canva for Education account is approved. And so you get all the Canva Pro features for free. So you need to apply for, this is why I told you that in the beginning. To apply for a Canva education account, you need to have an existing Canva account using your school email address. Before I worked at the IU, I had another Canva account and it wasn't a school email address. So I actually had to create a new one so I could apply for the education account. So if you've been using Canva for a while, but you use your personal Gmail or something like that, you're going to need to get a new Canva account with your school email address so you can sign up for the teacher pro version. And they want to know all this stuff, of course, because that's how you get free things in exchange for information in 2020. And then you can read the terms, you can read the eligibility. Now, for student use, the connection between the teacher account and Canva for Education, where students can design. Canva for Education is the learning-based extension of Canva. You can create classes in your account, or you can import classes from Google Classroom. And what you can do is you can share designs with them. They can share designs with you. You can give them viewing privileges to your designs, or you can allow them editing privileges, and then you can give them feedback on their designs. So there are a lot of guides out there how you can kind of set up like a remote little activity center in Canva for your students. What I did was just made a demo class called Lynn Hilt's class, and it consists of this header space. I have a design section, folders, templates, people, and groups in my class. I connected one of my Google Classrooms to my space, okay? Back in the day when Canva first came around, their terms of use were very clear that you needed to be 13 years or older to use Canva. They have since rewritten their privacy policy, and so younger students could potentially use it. However, again, they are very clear that if you are asking a student who's 12 or younger to use Canva, it is your responsibility as the educator to get parental permission for students who are under age 13. Otherwise, they are technically not permitted. So you need to get verifiable parental permission that that child under 13 is allowed to use Canva. What happens when you add your students via Classroom, or you can invite them via email, is the student will get an invitation that looks like this, and they click join the class. They will have to create an account on Canva to get in that. And that's one of the reasons why this stipulation is in place, because students aren't just entering a code and getting in, they are entering their personal information to create their own Canva account and be associated with your class. Once they're in the class, the teacher privileges, they can manage the class, they can create templates that you can push out for the class to use. The student can create and share designs with both the teacher and the rest of the class. So there is that sharing element that's in place. If we go to my class, I have people here. It changed on me. Did I do that? You can edit your banner. You can rename your team. You can create new folders. You can, yes, dismiss reminders. I know where I need to be, friends. Add members of your class. Oh, there's that thing again. Please, if you work with elementary kids, make sure you know that. You can get an invitation link that you can just copy and paste in an email or a Google Classroom so you can invite kids, or you can import your Google Classroom, which is what I did down here. So I invited a bunch of my Google Classroom students. Only one of them I actually took through the process of joining the class. So now when this student goes into her Canva, she will see what I have kind of pushed out, which just turned out to be this little activity that I found in the template. So it's a vocabulary activity. I'm going to have the student log in. And what I did was just had this student, because we were linking to Google Classroom. Yeah, I don't know where that is. So now I'm here. So now I see, as the student, you notice that this is full on Canva. This isn't like a student version of it. They're getting all the things that I had. Discover, there's lots of things they can see here. There's a whole section of learning. So they can learn some quick, you can send them through tutorials, how to design with Canva. You can take them into some graphic design basics classes. This would be great for middle and high school students who are in media literacy classes or media design. You can take them through. These are free.
Hi, I'm Kat. Welcome to Canva Design.
It takes just a couple short little videos where they can learn more about, proximity and fonts. And when you have a video called What the Font, you know it's going to be good. Learning about color combinations and what looks good. So that's there. And then they have their class on the left-hand side, Lynn Holt's class, and they can see the activity that was shared with them. And now I just had my student do that one line. They can edit it. My teacher actually left some feedback for me in that space. This is the teacher side now. When the student submitted this, I approved the design, and then I left a little feedback for that student as well that they were able to see. So it's definitely possible for you to push out content and kind of share that with students. So if I wanted to do, let me go to just a new, I don't have any classwork to do here. Let's just find something for school again. Let's see what it can do. Book review, that sounds good. So now I have a book review that I want my student to do. So now I'm going to share to Lynn Hilt's class, can view or can edit. So now in a minute or so, that should kind of go through. And in my team where I sent that out, ta-da, now the student can go in. Now, what I would teach my students is to make a copy of it so that they get, now this can be Avery's book review, grade preschool. The book she will review is If You Give a Pig a Pancake. And she can go in, you can type in here, you can add text. And when I did that, there's a whole bunch of worksheet templates that come up as well. So yes, these are interactive, these are worksheets, which is fine. But it does have like a way of branding it in a more interesting way. And it can just be a different way of publishing your writing. Just has an empty space where kids can publish their writing in that way. Now, when I'm done with this as a student, I can send it to my teacher, and I can select my teacher and then give the message, I loved reading this book. It was so great. Send. So now she's submitted that, and it says awaiting feedback. You'll get an email when your design has been reviewed. That's another thing to consider, because if your students don't, that was an email from Canva telling me one of my students submitted something. If your students don't have that email functionality, it's going to be hard to kind of review their stuff. Let me see, designs. I'm actually going to try to figure out how I even got into that. Review. This takes me into Avery's, and it says she's currently editing this design. You can still edit, but there's a chance one of you could use your changes, so it warns you because she has it open. And this is the place where I can review it, and I can approve it, and I can leave that feedback for her if it's good, if she did a good job, or if she needs some additional information on there. There are guides in the slides about kind of getting started with Canva with the student tie-in. And like I said, I've only used it just as you saw right there. But there are some distance education support, getting started with Canva in the classroom, tips to use. This is a post by the EduBlogger who does a lot of great work with the ed tech world. But they'll kind of walk you through step by step things you can design and ways to get started with your students. But even if you're not going to peruse that, for sure, there's just so much you can do with Canva for your own creative purposes that we hope you check it out. So I'm going to put up the Act 48 bit.ly for you if you have any questions. I didn't see any come in the chat, but this is a time you can grab the mic and you can ask any questions that you have.
I have a question.
Hi.
I was looking at the application. Instead of, I'm not gonna send my driver's license, birth certificate, or payroll stuff, whatever. There's no way. Do you think if I just send a snapshot of the school directory, which has my name on it, it'll be okay?
Well, I feel like I sent a picture of my school ID. Was that an option? Like, do you have an ID card?
I think so. Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
so
I did not send my driver's license. I don't think
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on nowadays. I'm like,
yes.
I'm just sitting.
No, I hear you. I know. Like, that's a barrier right away to like having people just fill out like for a free thing. Like, legitimately, you have to show something. I'm pretty sure I took a picture of my BCIU ID tag with my face and my name on it. You could even blur out your face because they don't know what you look like, just to prove that you work there.
Okay. All right.
And if they need more proof, I'll vouch for you. Any other questions? All right, well, we're going to get this up on demand for you. And if you create some cool things with Canva, which you certainly will, because it's kind of like addicting, and Danny would tell you too, and we miss Danny today, that once you start, you just can't stop, and everything can be Canva in some way, shape, or form. So thanks for joining me. I hope you have an awesome rest of the afternoon. And don't forget to reach out if you have any questions or you need anything. And we are going to do a couple more live sessions here as we're rolling into summer. So come back again. And then in the beginning of June, we're going to kick off some summer series sessions that can kind of get you through. And hopefully it'll take some time for you, though. So thank you so much. And reach out if you need anything.
Question before you leave. Go ahead. I know some of schools are still in session for like another two weeks. Some of us 2.5 weeks. So looking at the live calendar, it looks like you're done with sessions. Looks like this is probably the last week, I think. Is it?